Okay, now we took apart the trays, and here's what the outcome is. This is why it's nice to use the preformed bases, because it kind of makes a base already for you, because since you don't have a model trimmer to trim the models. So anyways, here is a edentulous patient. Now what we're going to do is, this is the Triad base plate. And what you're going to do is open it up, and you're going to open up this one. Well, maybe since the models are small, maybe one base plate will work for both. So we'll try it and see. If not, then I'll open that one. What we do, this is L-coat. This is a separating media that we put on the model, so when we cook it in our Triad machine, it's easy to separate, so it's a separating medium. And then all you do is pour a little bit, not the way I just did it, but pour a little bit and just spread it around. And then you're going to do the other model. And then put this all on the palette, rub it all on the that. Then there's a little piece of like cellophane, and you're going to separate that and that.
That's real soft and pliable, isn't it?
Yes, and it's very workable. So, and then I'm just going to cut a strip of it. Peel a little strip off, and I'm going to use it for the lower ridge. I'm going to form it around lower ridge, and it looks like a horseshoe. And now what I like to do is I like to trim the excess, so then I have less trimming to do at the end. Because once you cook it, this base hardens, and you'd have to use a acrylic burr to kind of trim off the rough edges, because this will cut the patient's mouth and it become pokey, and you won't get a good bite done because it's in the way. So anyways, this is what it looks like, and what I'm going to do now is cook it. And I usually cook it, how I do it, so it doesn't kind of really adhere to the stone, is turn it on, and it the Triad machine, the inside of it rotates, and it's like a curing light inside there, and it will cure it. I usually put it on for 1 minute, but during the cycle I kind of stop it and see if it's semi-set, to kind of just loosen it a little bit so it doesn't stick, because if it sticks and it's hard to get the acrylic off, sometimes you break the acrylic and you have to start over again, and you don't really want to do that. So I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to open up the cover, just see, and just take a knife, and it is semi-set, so I'm just going to take a knife and kind of loosen it a little bit, and it's loose. So then what I'm going to do is just continue cooking it. So we'll let that go. Now meanwhile, we'll do the other model, the upper model, and I just kind of flex it a little bit to make it a little wider. And I just take it and I form it. It's soft.
Move the bottle, please. Thank you.
And then I take the excess. And you want to make sure you get the post down. Get it all over. And
What's
I just
that?
go around
Post
the
down?
back. Yeah, the back of it. That's kind of where the it holds the denture, and it's where the suction and everything, this is where the majority of the denture is holding. But for an upper, you have this whole palatal part that'll hold the denture on, but back here is where you don't want anything like food or anything to get underneath it, so it kind of keeps it like a trap. So. Trimmed it up, kind of loosen, trim it from the back a little bit so they don't gag, and then I'm going to clear up the freedom, make a little V there, trim up the roughness. Now see the lower base is done, so I'll take that out. And I will put the upper base in. And usually you can take your Dremel and with the acrylic where you can go around, and if there's any rough edges you can smooth that up, but in this case it's pretty smooth. Then what I'm going to do while that's cooking, and this is all cooked, I'm going to take the wax rims and I'm going to measure, trim the extra wax, cut off the extra wax, place it on the ridge, and then you just melt the wax onto the acrylic, like so. Going to kind of adhere it to it, push down. And then I just take the heat and I go around and melt the wax rim a little bit to kind of form, melt it to make the base. And then I just push the wax in to kind of together. And then what you're doing is just getting it all ready for then the doctor to do his measurements. I like to get it all nice and even if you can. Sometimes it depends on the formity of their mouth and how the ridge is, so kind of just have to fool with it a little bit. Then I just take it and smooth all the rough melty wax off a little bit. Put that here. Then I will proceed to do the upper one. This is set. And then I will put this back in for a second just to kind of cook it since I loosened it. So this was in a little bit longer while I was doing the lower. So this is done. And you want to shut it off, and then there's no sharp edges or anything. And if it's not cooked all the way on the inside, you can always put it back in the cooker and cook it for a second and let it harden. In this case it wasn't it's not cooked all the way, so it will get distorted. Put it back on the model and it hardens up. So, okay, it just takes a second, so it's hard now. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take another wax rim and you're going to kind of measure, cut the length off a little bit, and then take the wax. And then you are going to form it. Get it all melty. Press down a little bit, cover up the back, kind of form can use a knife if you want, but I just find it easier to use your fingers. Press everything down. And then what I like to do is kind of put them together just to see if it's like inside of their mouth. And there you have it. It's all set from start to finish. So this is how you do a model and a denture in one day.
Now, the dentist takes that base plate with the rim on it and puts it in the patient mouth to do the
bite. What he'll do is then, yes. So if they want, you know, however they do, everybody does it differently. So they just put this is like a fake upper denture, so to speak, and then put this in their mouth. And make sure there's no debris in their mouth. Make sure they rinse their mouth out and everything's clean and ready to go. And this is the lower, and this one will go in the lower. And then all they have to do is, hopefully the patient will cooperate for the bite, and if they should. And then this is what.
What do they mark on there, or how do they? Don't they put a mark on there or something?
Yeah, some will have them bite and squeeze it and do it. Some will take their freedom and measure with their old dentures and how it's opened and everything. So I guess that's mostly up to how the dentist wants to do their, yeah.
Then you put it all back together?
Put it all back together on here, and then you, pardon?
Make out a lab slip and
yeah,
ship it to
put
the
their
lab.
name on the base. So put their name and the name of the nursing home on the base, so the lab man knows in case anything gets mixed up. They have
so they should put the name on both pieces, right?
Top, upper, and lower. I was gonna, and then sometimes you like to at the end just kind of stick it together and like that. So because it does go in the mail, and there's from start to finish. That's what the base looks like.
And it comes back a finished product the patient can wear.
Yeah, with teeth on it, and get a shade, see what their shade is, and then they'll have new dentures when the next visit.
Visit delivered.
Yeah.
Yay!
That's how you do it.